Hello everyone, Wisteria here and welcome back to Fables. Thank you for tuning in if you're listening to Wisteria Energy Twister on one of my podcast platforms or on YouTube. I do appreciate it. So, this one's called The Lion and the Wild Ass. A lion and a wild ass went out hunting together. The latter was to run down the prey by his superior speed, and the former would then come up and dispatch it. They met with great success, and when it came to sharing the spoil, the lion divided it all into 3 equal portions. "I will take the first," said he, "because I am king of the beasts. I will also take the second, because as your partner, I'm entitled to half of what remains. And as for the third, well, unless you give it up to me and take yourself off pretty quick, the third, believe me, will make you feel very sorry for yourself." There's a lesson in that as well, and it says, might makes right. So, I don't know, like I say, some of these are extremely old and are therefore quite confusing. The Man and the Satyr. A man and a satyr became friends and determined to live together. All went well for a while, until one day in winter-time the satyr saw the man blowing his hands. "Why do you do that?" he asked. "To warm my hands," said the man. That same day, when they sat down to supper together, they each had a steaming hot bowl of porridge, and the man raised his bowl to his mouth and blew on it. "Why do you do that?" asked the satyr. "To cool my porridge," said the man. The satyr got up from the table. "Goodbye," said he. "I'm going. I can't be friends with a man who blows hot and cold with the same breath." That's because a satyr, which is also known as Satan, by the way, but it's not the devil as you think, but a satyr only has hot breath. So that's why he said that to the man, because he was like in shock, thinking he blew hot onto his cold hands and he blew cold onto the porridge, which he obviously didn't, but that's what the satyr assumed. The Image Seller. A certain man made a wooden image of Mercury and exposed it for sale in the market. As no one offered to buy it, however, he thought he would try to attract a purchaser by proclaiming the virtues of the image. So he cried up and down the market, "A god for sale? A god for sale? One who'll bring you luck and keep you lucky?" Presently, one of the bystanders stopped him and said, "If your god is all you make him out to be, how is it you don't keep him and make the most of him yourself?" "I'll tell you why," replied he. "He brings pain, it is true, but he takes his time about it, whereas I want money at once." It's an interesting story. I'm not sure of the lesson though. The Eagle and the Arrow. An eagle sat perched on a lofty rock, keeping a sharp lookout for prey. A huntsman concealed in the cleft of the mountain, and on the watch for game, spied him there, and shot an arrow at him. The shaft struck him full in the breast, and pierced him through and through. As he lay in agonies of death, he turned his eyes upon the arrow. "Ah, cruel fate," he cried, "that I should perish thus, but oh, fate more cruel still, that the arrow which killed me should be winged with an eagle's feather." I guess they would think like that though, wouldn't they? Because it's true. A Rich Man and the Tanner. A rich man took up residence next door to a tanner, and found the smell of the tan yard so extremely unpleasant that he told him he must go. The tanner delayed his departure, and the rich man had to speak to him several times about it, and every time the tanner said he was making arrangements to move very shortly. This went on for some time, till at last the rich man got so used to the smell that he ceased to mind it, and troubled the tanner with his objections no more. The wolf, the mother, and her child. A hungry wolf was prowling about in search of food. By and by, attracted by the cries of a child, he came to a cottage. As he crouched beneath the window, he heard the mother say to the child, stop crying, do, or I'll throw you to the wolf." Thinking she merely meant what she said, he waited there a long time in expectation of satisfying his hunger. In the evening he heard the mother fondling her child and saying, "If the naughty wolf comes, he shan't get my little one. Daddy will kill him." The wolf got up in disgust and walked away. As for the people in that house, said to himself, "You can't believe a word they say." The Old Woman and the Wine Jar. An old woman picked up an empty wine jar, which had once contained a rare and costly wine, and which still retained some traces of its exquisite bouquet. She raised it to her nose and sniffed at it again and again. "Ah," she cried, "how delicious must have been the liquid which has left behind so ravishing a smell." I have no idea what that's about or what the lesson is because it doesn't say. Like I say, some of these are very old, and even I don't understand them myself. The Lioness and the Vixen. A lioness and a vixen were talking together about their young, as mothers will, and saying how healthy and well grown they were, and what beautiful coats they had, and how they were the image of their parents. "My litter of cubs is a joy to see," said the fox, and then she added, rather maliciously, "but I notice you never have more than one." "No," said the lioness grimly, "but that one's a lion." Quality, not quantity. The Viper and the File. A viper entered a carpenter's shop, and went from one to another of the tools, begging for something to eat. Among the rest, he addressed himself to the File, and asked for the favour of the meal. The File replied in tone of pity, contempt, "What a simpleton you must be, if you imagine you will get anything from me, who invariably take from everyone and never give anything in return." Apparently the lesson in that is, the covetous are poor givers. Okay then. Again, not too sure what that means. Some of these even I'm very unsure of because of the age of them. The Hare and the Tortoise. Of course, I'm pretty sure you all are aware of what this tale is, but this is the original. A hare was one day making fun of the tortoise for being so slow upon his feet. "Wait a bit," said the tortoise. "I'll run a race with you, and I'll wager that I win." "Oh, well," replied the hare, who was much amused at the idea. "Let us try and let us see." And it was soon agreed that the fox should set a course for them and be the judge. When the time came, both started off together, but the hare was soon so far ahead that he thought he might as well have a rest. So down he lay, and he fell there fast asleep. Meanwhile, the tortoise kept plodding on, and in time reached the goal. At last the hare woke up with a start, and dashed on his feet, and did his fastest, but only to find that the tortoise had already won the race. Slow and steady wins the race. but I'm sure you've all heard of that one already because it is a very, very old one indeed. That's the next lot of fables finished. Thank you very much for listening, whether you're on YouTube or any of my podcasts. I appreciate it, and many blessings.